Like it or not, we are well and truly in the era of elevated horror. While gorefests still have their place, of course, studios like A24 have championed smartly made, allegory-heavy movies that don't treat viewers like idiots. Now, I just want to note that a movie doesn't have to be pretentious or anything like that to not insult your intelligence, and all of the following films bring these scares as much as they mine thought-provoking subject matter. They're the complete and utterly terrifying package. I'm Josh from WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 recent horror films that didn't insult your intelligence. Number 10. Saint Maud. Saint Maud is the feature debut from director Rose Glass, and what a debut it is. A tense, claustrophobic tale of religious and personal obsession, Saint Maud is not just an above-average British horror, but one of the finest British horrors of the decade. It follows Maud, a nurse caring for terminal cancer patient and once celebrated dancer Amanda. They both live in a small coastal English town, itself an all-too-familiar wasteland of unemployment, scabby arcades, and miserable weather. The intro hints that Maud has clearly been through some unspecified trauma and as such has found God. In fact, she claims anyway, he even speaks to her. Consequently, she makes it her mission to quote-unquote save Amanda in the eyes of the Lord. Bleak, intense, and truly disturbing, Saint Maud is a somber horror film and a stark portrayal of deep-rooted trauma from the point of view of two diametrically opposed women. It's one of the slower movies on this list, but the central performance is as good as you can find in the genre, and it builds to an incredibly tense climax. Number 9. His House. With His House, director Remy Weeks posits that if you want horror, all you have to do is turn on the TV and watch the news. It's another debut, but the flick tackles themes of immigration, racism, and survivor's guilt with the confidence of an industry veteran. Without giving too much away, His House centers on a married couple, refugees who've arrived in the UK and have been housed by the immigration department with nothing but the clothes on their back, a meager check, and the limitations of a state-sanctioned welfare system. While the film could have solely mined real social horror out of this situation, things do take an overtly supernatural turn when it's revealed that there are ghosts literally living in the walls of the new house. It's a bona fide ghost story with intense and surreal visuals, but it's all anchored around the very human realities and histories of its two complicated heroes. Number 8. La Llorona. Guatemala is not known for its horror movies, but if La Llorona is anything to go by, we're all missing out. Not to be confused with the generic popcorn shower that is The Curse of La Llorona, which I'm not gonna lie is a mistake I first made myself. This movie has the weight of a considered political drama and the sensitivity of a character study, combining both in a film that portrays the effects of the Guatemalan Civil War and the legend of La Llorona, the Weeping Woman. After being unjustly cleared of his hand in historic war crimes, the film focuses on retired General Enrique Monteverde, as his family become prisoners in their fortified mansion as crowds of protesters blockade the grounds. While avoiding paying for their crimes, they become aware of a strange presence in the house. As the general hears weeping in the night and the main staff resign in protest, a life of infidelity, corruption, and death is threatened to be uncovered. It's a hugely engaging surprise, with the director using the genre and the mythology of the La Llorona tale to reach out to an audience unfamiliar with the plight of the Guatemalan indigenous people. Number 7. Relic. Premiering at Sundance in 2020, Relic, nope, not the 1997 Tom Sizemore monster mashup, I'm going to stop you before you begin, is the pitch-perfect spiritual successor to The Babadook. When Kay's mother Edna goes missing from her country home for several days, she and her daughter Sam realize that Edna's dementia has progressed to the point where she can no longer look after herself. The house is a tip, black mold is beginning to grow from the walls, and more alarmingly, Edna has developed a sinister bruise on her chest. Kay's solution is a private care home, but when Sam begins to see a figure lurking in the shadows of the house, perhaps all is not as it seems. Now, there have of course been plenty of horror movies that explore themes of mental illness through ghost stories, but Relic handles the sensitivity of the subject with great skill. The family framing drives home the emotionality at the core of the story, while the increasing unnaturalness of the set pieces reflects the core theme while still delivering imaginative scares. It's great. Number 6. The Mortuary Collection. We've had plenty of movies so far that tackle pretty intimidating, realistic themes, but The Mortuary Collection is a flick which brings the fun and gore unashamedly. An anthology film that prioritizes quality over quantity, each segment of this masterful horror plays with the audience's expectations, delivering on outrageous setups with a small dash of knob terror for good measure. The wraparound focuses on an incredibly goofy character played by Clancy Brown interviewing someone for a job at his mortuary. During the interview, he regales his his potential employee with some of the darkest tales he's come across while working there. These stories range from Lovecraftian terror to a husband attempting to smuggle the corpse of his wife out of their apartment block, and they're all delivered with a sense of pure glee. Even better, the filmmakers understand the expectations that come with these anthology movies and even these subgenres, and don't skimp on the emotional core present in each segment. The darker side of Americana has never looked brighter in this cleverly self-aware VOD treat. Number 5. Swallow. Swallow is a film about the trauma faced by survivors of domestic abuse, both physical and mental, framed in a body horror psychodrama not unlike the work of David Cronenberg himself. The plot follows Hunter, the Stepford-style perfect wife of Richie, who himself is the kind of steroid jock that we all enjoy seeing Jason Voorhees cleaving in half in the opening minutes of a slasher flick. Repressed, vulnerable, and cajoled into submission on a daily basis, the cracks begin to show when Hunter develops a compulsion for eating peculiar objects, the one part of her life that she can claim for herself. What begins with a craving for a large marble soon progresses into increasingly dangerous territory, including drawing pins and pieces of metal which not only threaten her life but that of her unborn child. Swallow is much more than that horror movie about the girl who likes to eat pencils. It's really, really good. Number 4. The Wolf of Snow Hollow. It's rare that you get to pick what your final movie is, but it's safe to say that the final flick of cult actor and American treasure Robert Foster is something to be proud of. Written, directed, and starring Jim Cummings, The Wolf of Snow Hollow pitches somewhere between Fargo, Twin Peaks, and The Howling, with tremendous results. The dialogue was literally written for Cummings, who delivers a frantic, energized performance as a cop solving the murders of a potential werewolf in a small ski resort, answerable only to his father, the local sheriff. This is an immensely self-aware film, as Cummings' weary cop doesn't believe in werewolves any more than the rational person, yet when the dismembered bodies begin to pile up, the veins on his forehead threaten to burst with the stress of it all. His teenage daughter, his ex, and his alcoholism all provide a volatile cocktail that the character struggles to juggle, mirrored only by Cummings' off-screen effort to juggle multiple genres at once as well. Blending comedy, horror, and family drama together with ease, this is a perfectly packaged treat for horror fans that comes with a wink as well as a scream. Number 3. She Dies Tomorrow. To say that She Dies Tomorrow is a weird film is a major oversimplification. This is easily the most difficult movie to get into on this list, but it absolutely delivers on its particular brand of existentialism. It begins when Jane visits her friend Amy one day to find her more morose than usual. Amy is a recovering alcoholic who has had a relapse and is now listening to Mozart's Requiem on repeat and drinking herself into an eerily calm stupor, convinced that she's going to die tomorrow. And that belief quickly begins to spread from one person to the next. Everyone she comes into contact with starts believing that they too are going to die tomorrow. This is a meditative yet decidedly creepy film that operates in the same space as an infection movie, a bit like the recent and brilliant It Follows, only on a much greater philosophical level. To say it taps into the existential sense of apocalypse that's so present right now is an understatement. And it raises the question, what would you do if you knew you were going to die tomorrow? Make peace with a rebuked family member? Go swimming with your pajamas? I don't know, but this movie really made me think about it. Number 2, Hagazusa. If you thought The Witch was too impenetrable, then Hagazusa might as well be a 30-foot wide concrete wall that you have to slowly chip away at like you're Andy in The Shawshank Redemption. Light on dialogue and even lighter on explanations as to what the hell is going on, this debut follows the life of one woman, Albrun, in the 15th century. She grew up isolated in the mountains with her mother, and the family gained a reputation as being home to a line of witches. Whether that's true or not is left a bit ambiguous, but the isolation, worsened following the haunting death of her mother, certainly leads Albrun to dark places, as she's shown time and time again that other humans only make her life worse. Hugely atmospheric and boasting some absolutely grotesque sequences, Hagazusa asks a lot from the viewer, but will leave them with a movie they'll never forget. Number 1, The Vast of Night. Combining elements from The Twilight Zone, The X-Files, and American Graffiti, The Vast of Night is a love letter to 50s sci-fi and Cold War paranoia movies. Dialogue heavy and budget light, the central plot concerns the events of one night in small-town USA and a mysterious radio signal picked up by local girl and switchboard operator Faye, also a high school student and friend to the town's radio DJ Everett. After persuading Everett to broadcast the strange sound on air, he receives a call from a retired military man and the plot thickens from this point on? Is there something extraterrestrial happening, or is it literally just a case of crossed wires? Shot in 3 weeks on a reported budget of $700,000, The Vast of Night shows what can be achieved with the absolute basics of movie making 101, that being great characters, a polished script, and a gripping hook. The use of the whole town is watching game cliche works so well here, and the sense of place is one of the movie's biggest strengths, alongside the general sense of unease that comes with figuring out just what the hell is going on. So that's our list. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. How many of these movies have you seen, and are you convinced to check any of them out now? Likewise, are there any cool films you think should have been on here in the first place? Let me know, and while you're down in the comments, could you also give us a like, share, subscribe, and head over to whatculture.com for more lists and news like this every single day. Even if you don't know, I've been Josh, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.